Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Today we're going to be breaking down a huge number of leaks that have come out with regards to the upcoming content in Season 1 of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. From new enemy bosses that we're going to be fighting, to new objectives that we'll have, some kind of commentary on the round-based stuff that Treyarch are supposedly adding to the game at some point, but there's a lot of controversy and confusion around, and a bunch more stuff like that. So if you're excited for the vid, drop a like on it maybe, consider subscribing if you're new as well. It'd be a pleasure to have you here. We make videos like this all the time, so if you don't want to miss out on more content like this in the future, then hit the sub button and we'll get into it. So a huge number of these leaks come from the source code of Modern Warfare 3. And basically the way it works is that people with the game, usually on PC, can look into the strings, that's like loads of sentences essentially that make up a lot of the content of the game, and read information from those strings which could hint towards future content. So a string might be the name of an upcoming weapon that's going to be added, or a boss, or what have you. And so a lot of these leaks, they come from Margwa, some of them come from Alex. Like there's a handful of people that have been digging into the code to try and find this information, but the majority of it is sourced from the game that we're actually already playing, because there's future content in there that's in there early, it's just not been revealed to us yet. However, some of this stuff comes in the form of a more legitimate source, I suppose, because there are items that might show up in the game now that are actually intended to be future content. It's just that they're showing up a bit early, and I think that stuff is intentional because the COD team did it last year for DMZ. They'd have items that were used for example, Building 21, which was an update that hadn't come out yet, but you were still finding the items for it, and so it sort of built some hype. So there's a little bit of a blend in this video of what we're going to be talking about. So an example of this is the schematic for legendary ether tools and flawless Ethereum crystals. Legendary ether tools obviously upgrade your weapon's rarity to max rarity, and flawless crystals upgrade you to tier 3 pack-a-punch. And currently the schematics for those are not dropping, or at least certainly not commonly, for anyone grinding out those tier 3 contracts. But those are on the way and do appear to be coming in Season 1 based on recent appearances that they have been making and their references in the game files. Now, another possibility coming from the code is that Rebirth Island, the Warzone map, may be coming to Zombies with a main quest Easter egg at some point during the year. Not in Season 1, but just at some point. And this is off the back of a previous rumor that suggests that future maps will be coming to Modern Warfare Zombies. And because it seems that the consensus right now is that it's less likely that Urzikstan is what gets the main quest, it would make sense for some other Warzone map to be something that comes along, and that's where we get our main quest experience. However, that one's up in the air, so let me know if you think it's more likely to get a main quest on Urzikstan or a different map in the comments down below. Now, a really interesting one, and I've actually seen people digging up texture files for this as well, and literally creating visualizations of what it will look like, even though it's not even properly in the game yet, or not available in the game yet, so that's pretty crazy. But there is a rumored new equipment called the Aether Blade, rumored to be coming to Modern Warfare Zombies. The source on this one is Modern Warfare 3 Intel, and it's unknown exactly how it will work, but the Aether Blade does have textures in the game that make it look very purple and ethereal, almost like it's made out of one of the Ethereum crystals that we find around the map, or that you often see inside the Dark Ether in maps like D-Machine and things like that. Like, it's got that real Ethereum look, which is pretty sick. And I have to wonder, is this gonna maybe be kind of inspired by the katana that you can use in Black Ops 4? Like, is it gonna have that kind of vibe to it? I really don't know, but I'm excited because I think it looks really cool. I would show you it in the video, but I don't think I can, just because it's technically not in the game yet. But still, let's move on. There is a new warlord coming called Dokkaebi, seemingly. And this isn't the first new keycard that we've found. There are others as well, such as Kiris or Keris and Rainmaker. And this follows there being a list published before the game actually came out of a whole bunch of warlords, some of which we haven't even seen yet. So certain names like Rainmaker are nothing new to us. And there are also likely to be plenty more of them as the year goes on. So for example, we're expecting at some point to see a chemist, just like how we saw in DMZ. As it stands right now, the chemist has not been added, and we haven't found the chemist's keycard just yet. But Keris, Rainmaker, and Dokkaebi seem to be on the way in Season 1. Now, I'm actually not sure. I might be pronouncing the name wrong. It might be Dokkaebi, not 100%, but Dokkaebi is actually a plural word in Korean. It means Korean goblins. They're like a nature deity and spirit associated with extraordinary powers and possessing humans as well and interacting with them, as well as playing tricks on them and sometimes helping them. So it'll be interesting to see if this is potentially kind of like a trick-based fortress, as opposed to something like Legacy, which just had like a lot of tripwires. Maybe this one is a lot more tactical in the way that you need to approach it. Almost like that house that you could find in the old Pokemon games. Was it the Trickmaster? Was that his his name, and you'd have to sort of solve puzzles to get through it. It'd be really cool if we got something like that, I think. So here's to hoping, guys. Now, as far as the continuation of the story goes, it seems like the Season 1 quest, or the story mission, which is going to be one of several missions that get added as an Act 4 in Season 1, that's going to be called Fear of the Dark. And I've seen people speculating that there are going to be items associated with that mission that are related to Ava's past in some way. I've also seen speculation that there might even be different versions of Ava, such as a child version and maybe a teenage version, as well as her adult self. So we might be getting some kind of flashback here, and that's why it's called Fear of the Dark, because there's going to be some moment in her youth where she was kind of put on the path that she's on now to discover and delve into the intricacies of Ethereum. This is something that I was speculating about in my story video the other day as well, so it'll be interesting to see how that plugs into the theories I've already formed. Now, in terms of new perk additions, those of you that have been Zombies players for a while would probably expect there to be a new perk or two throughout the year, and it seems like we might potentially be getting 2 new perks in Season 1 alone. Now, there is always a chance that we know that these are coming at some point, but it actually isn't for Season 1, it's for later in the year. But still, as it stands, the rumor and speculation seems to be around the idea of Mule Kick being added to the game in Season 1. And then the less certain one, but something that still does seem to be in the mix, which is really bizarre in my opinion, but cool still, is that Widow's Wine may actually be making an appearance this year as well. Less confident that it's going to be Season 1, like I said, but still potential for that to happen. But otherwise, just expect Widow's Wine to maybe be on the agenda for some later season. Now, a really big change that I think is a really positive one, actually, and I at first was a little skeptical of this, but I've come around to the idea, and I'd like to bring you around to the idea as well, is the fact that there's going to be a wallet added at some point, and that's going to let you store essence outside of matches. So you exfil, you bring whatever essence with you, you put it into your wallet, and then in a later game, you can choose to spawn in with some amount of essence. Now, at first, you might think, oh my god, that kind of ruins the whole point of earning points in a given match. But right now, exfils are kind of underpowered compared to tombstoning every match. Like, there's not really that much reason to exfil unless you have schematics, and once you've farmed schematics, you've got no reason to do it anymore. But alongside the rumored addition of the exfil streaks system, similar to DMZ again, the wallet will mean that you can exfil with your cash and spawn in with it straight away instead of having to run all the way over to a tombstone and go through that whole rigmarole. Now, there are downsides to it as well, and I'm sure some of you are really against the idea of a wallet, but I'm still excited to see it get added and see how it changes the sort of dynamic, and I'm probably going to evaluate it from there. But just at face value, I'm in favor of this change. And also, we had a bank in maps like Buried, for example, or Die Rise, and I feel like those were pretty popular features on those maps. So the fact that Modern Warfare Zombies is essentially getting a bank system is at least going to be an interesting thing to play with. Now then, another new system coming to the game is the Rifts system, right? Which we're aware of, they've already announced that, but we don't necessarily know what we're going to be doing in the Rifts just yet. However, once again, from Alex and Margwa, we have some rumored features. One is a new kind of Outlast objective, which is going to be called Holdout, which you'll be familiar with from Outbreak if you've played that, in which you're stuck in a confined space and you need to survive there for a set amount of time. And another is a helicopter drop, where you have to shoot down cargo from a terminus helicopter. And I think that there's a chance that some of this stuff actually ends up coming outside of the Rifts and being used in just general gameplay as new objectives in addition to the ones that we can already do on the map when we pick up contracts. And the list goes on, to be honest. There's hostage contracts, there's civilian contracts. Some of those are going to involve having to evacuate civilians. Others are going to involve hostages, sort of like in DMZ, where you'll have to bust into a building where some mercs have someone hostage and save them. There's rumors of summon activities where you have to basically fill up a soul box and fight some kind of HVT at the end, potentially. There's defending a turret from zombies while it powers up. There might even be a wave survival objective that is present and necessary. And again, could be in the Rifts, could be outside the Rifts, not 100% sure. But the idea would be that there would be some number of waves that you would have to hold zombies off for, and presumably each of those waves would get more difficult, which does admittedly sound pretty similar to the old holdout system. It's just the holdout was on a timer, whereas this would be based on the waves themselves. But still, unclear, but there's rumblings of it seemingly. And also a refractors objective, which will involve some kind of ether refractors. They probably need to be protected from damage or something along those lines. Now, very excitingly, this is one that really doesn't happen often in zombies, so this is one to be hyped up about, there are new power-ups that are being considered for the mode. One of them sounds like it's called Undead Sight, potentially. Another called Looting Spree. Again, this comes from HeyImAlaix. And if we just unpack those real quick, Looting Spree sounds very similar to some kind of shopping free. So maybe it's going to reduce the costs of different wall weapon purchases or Pack-a-Punch or whatever you can spend your money on for a 30-second period. And so that one's pretty easy to kind of make assumptions about, but Undead Sight is a little bit more difficult because we already have Death Perception as a perk. So it's not just going to outline zombies, it's going to clearly do something else. So what do you think the purpose of Undead Sight could be? And could that maybe be related to an Easter egg in some capacity? Like when you get Undead Sight, you can see new things in the world, and that allows us to discover new stuff. I think especially as Treyarch have already made Easter eggs in the past that have required you to have zombie vision of some description, I think that the chances of Undead Sight meaning that there are new Easter eggs added is very, very high, which I'm really excited about. Now, obviously, none of this is 100% confirmed, and it's all subject to change as Treyarch continues developing the mode, but let me know what you're most excited about and drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it.